And we're back.
All right.
All right. Episode 2 of the B Plus podcast with your host. I'm Seftimor.
I'm Nasum.
And today we're going to be discussing It Follows. Um, as everybody probably knows now, either you've seen it or you haven't, which I'm sure if you're watching this, you most likely have seen it. It did just come to Netflix Instant. And we've been, I guess, drunkenly discussing this movie for a long time now.
Speak for yourself.
We,
I've
we'd
been,
have
I've
we'd
been
be
discussing it seriously.
we've had a few drinks here and there, and it was probably like 3 or 4 in-depth discussions for about an hour and a half. So since we started the podcast, we decided to bring this to you guys, and we want to put our thoughts out there and let you guys hear what we've been discussing, soberly and unsoberly.
Why don't we start with what we think about the movie, non-spoiler, and then we'll go until we know we have to spoiler.
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic. The movie's out of this world.
Great movie.
Yeah, it's so much when you're watching it. Even if you watch it, passingly, you still are sitting there going, something's going on. Something's going on. Even if you're not, being a detective on the scene, looking at what we're going to discuss later on, that you're watching something that is really, I say, like once in a lifetime. I mean, I'm sure they're going to make sequels and ruin it, but this is something. When I watched it, I knew I was watching something bigger than what my little brain was processing as I watched it. And I know that because I immediately look up explanations on what happened. I immediately go and see what was what takeaways have I missed, what was really going on. I did that with Antichrist, the Lars von Trier movie. When I watched that, that's really cryptic, at least to me. And I went about a week looking at stuff, and I did the same thing for this. Every article that would pop up, I had to read. I had to find out what's going on with It Follows, because it was so good just as a movie. I
When
knew
did you
there was
see it?
something else.
When did you watch it?
I watched it when it came out on DVD.
I watched it, I believe in 2014 in the theaters. So I knew I wanted to see it. And as soon as the movie started, I knew, well, here we go. This is an independent film, and let's see how it does. And it was good. The beginning was fine. Questions pop up all over. I did the opposite. Like, I didn't read about the movie before I went to see it, and I didn't read about it after. I just watched it. And it was really good. Well, it can't be good the whole time. I have to say it has a good idea. It enacted on having that idea from start to finish, which makes it a great movie. 75% the way through, pacing got messed up for me. That being said, everything was fine. So it's like you're watching something, you're interested in it. It's very, very good. 75% the way in, you're just like, okay, wait, what's going on? And with this pacing we had isn't the pace that we have right now. And then it ends, and you're like, yeah, because like you still feel good about it. Like you wanted to see the ending, you wanted to see to what the extent the rules were going to apply to this group of people that had to figure out something that it's like an impossible situation that they've been placed into. When it gets to spoilers, I have a lot of things to say, but we'll save that for now. The movie was great. I really liked that it felt like a horror movie from start to finish. I don't know anything about David Robert Mitchell, but he must have been a fan of horror films, because there were shots I was watching, like even if they were like side panning shots that I've seen in older horror movies. I don't know whether you want to say that they came from Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween. The music reminded me of that era of movies too, whether you want to say that it's the 80s or you want to reference Carpenter. It was a great movie. I liked how they gave you things to look at to make you be like, what? Why is that? Like, why is that? Why is this that? We'll go into that more later, obviously. I like how there was a subset of rules, and I like how like there's the anti, like the virgin girl is going to be the one that's sought after or going to be captured, hurt, like killed. Like this was like right off the bat, like, oh, you have to go have sex with someone to even like up your chances of surviving this entire ordeal,
Oh
right?
yeah, we didn't put out the disclaimer too that this is a podcast solely about STDs.
No, no,
Like,
I think you didn't put anything as far as like a tagline goes. What does B plus even stand for? I thought it was a blood type.
yeah.
Right.
Uh, no. What I like to is I am sick and tired of jump scares. Now, mind you, there were some in
Not
this
much though.
not, not 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 much. I mean,
Wow.
when he's busting through when they're at the beach and he's busting through the thing and stuff
The
like
only
that.
one I
That could be
remember.
minor, but
Oh yeah,
uh,
you're right. The beach where the door. Okay, wait, but I remember a different one. Oh, this was checking out Greg's. No, that's not Greg. The other guy, the first guy's apartment. And he wasn't really his house or his apartment. He was just kind of squatting there.
right.
And the younger sister to Jay, I guess, was like checking out a piece of the wall where Jay was looking through. I don't know. Let's say like a window or a mirror, and it just falls, and she's there, and she, like they both get scared at the same time. That's
Right.
about it, right? I can't recall any more jump scares. And I mean, that's riddled all over modern horror movie making. And like some people are really good at it. Like, I don't know what I'm going to sound like, but James Wan is excellent at it. And any film he makes, I'm going to watch. I don't know what your opinion of him is, but uh, that's an example where it's used well because it's hard to judge his timing sometimes. And like, if you can't be scared by a jump scare, then like, sometimes he'll slip one and that'll do it.
No, right. I understand, but I'm over it.
Okay.
Okay. I can't say I'm over it. I'm lying. Because then I watch a movie like Lights Out, and I think it's great.
I'll solve them.
I watch obviously The Conjuring, but these movies are, you know, totally jump scares. So I guess I can't say that I'm totally against it as of now, but it just makes a movie like this so much more refreshing. A
Mhm.
movie like The Witch so much more refreshing, uh, because it doesn't have to rely on those types of things. One of my favorite horror movies of all time too is The Strangers. I love that movie because it didn't rely on jump scares. It relied on pure creepiness. The creepy music playing, and you just see the dude walking like in the shadow behind Liv Tyler, and you know that's what I really enjoyed, like I said, about this. I guess so. And what I'm saying is I don't mind jump scares. I mind it to an extent. It doesn't make or break a movie for me, but when you watch something that doesn't have it, it's that much more refreshing to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I think it made it more of that like atmosphere. It gave it that atmosphere where it's a film that you learn to be able to observe a lot of things. It doesn't always there doesn't have to be any like dialogue or like, there doesn't have to be people talking back and forth where you can sit down and just observe a lot in a movie like this, and you can walk away with anybody can walk away with a different kind of introspective to what they've seen, and then people can sit down and have like parking lot conversations about what they thought or got out of that movie. I really like that they made the like scenery in neighborhoods like very. I mean, it was an independent film, so they had a like maybe a lower budget, but it didn't. It looked like it looked like a good neighborhood, and not like a good neighborhood where like it's supposed to have some subset of like this is a good neighborhood, this is a nice place to live in. It's just like you would watch other horror movies or watch other like call them blockbuster action movies, and like it would be nighttime and the streets would be like a certain type of like reflection, and there'd be a certain type of lighting like more uh I guess modern movies use lens flares and other types of effects where like they're not doing that here. They're trying to make you feel like you're in this world, and this world has some strange rules that exist around it. But I think they did a really good job of creating a place where you would want to be able to see what happens next to these characters, and that in turn I think helps you care about the characters more. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with every point, and like you said about the neighborhood, which we're gonna get into, definitely a lot more because we have some stuff to discuss with that. But no, I mean, I genuinely um, cared for the characters. I definitely wanted to see what was going to happen to them, and no, I mean, you nailed it. I mean, I don't have anything to add to that.
I like the soundtrack. Um,
Soundtrack's good.
they were able to make it sound like a little bit of that ode to, from what I remember from the 80s, but like you can also mesh that with like not like super contemporary like EDM, but you can do like the bit chip kind of stuff. And
Right.
I knew it was done by Disaster Piece, and I already had um some of his stuff downloaded before I realized I was watching a movie with like his main theme is the one you remember, like do that part.
Right.
Like I also noticed that like other horror movies that seem to be able to capture your will to want to be able to pay attention to what's happening. Sometimes they they kind of dial down the soundtrack or no soundtrack, and that in itself creates its own little space for whatever you want to enter, whether it's going to be suspense or focusing on something or um, creating more of a, again, this set atmosphere that helps you just really get into the movie. It gets you immersed.
Yeah, definitely atmospheric. Well, what do you feel is the reason, or what do you feel is the reason for the form it takes?
Then a character said, I think it takes the form of your loved ones because it hates you. Like, do you remember?
Yeah, it was something like that,
It was in the beginning.
but I mean, why then? All right, we're going spoilers from now on, so
Already? Come
yeah,
on.
we're getting into it.
What if
No,
someone else wants to listen and not hear spoilers yet?
I got it. Well, what else are you gonna say? I got to get into this.
All right,
The
start it off.
the prostitute.
No, you got it. Say you got to say this whole spoiler spiel like you did last time.
Oh,
Do
to
it.
anybody watching or listening,
There we go.
from now on, there will be spoilers contained throughout the rest of the podcast. So this is your warning. Turn it off or skip to I don't know. uh, yeah, but prostitute.
Okay.
Why the prostitute then? That's not a loved one.
Wait, it took the form of one?
That prostitute or that was peeing on the ground,
Oh, okay. I
right?
see what you're trying to
That
say.
was
Yeah.
no one knew.
It takes the form of what it wants or what it feels like. I mean, like, why does it take the form of a naked man standing on top of a house? Like,
Yeah,
what's the relevance of that guy?
that's something that's still
Why is he
conveyed.
standing on the top? Hold on, I gotta start. Why is he on top of the house? If it was already that close to getting into the house and they didn't know, why didn't it just do its normal thing where it like walks over to a window, finds like a rock, throws it through it, alerts everyone that's in the house that's awake or like lucid. But this time, when they decided to leave, he's a naked man standing on top of the house. How did he get up there? Did he get a ladder? Did he scale
Well,
the side of the house? Like,
that is what I want to go into first. So you just did a good segue.
all right.
Uh, it isn't a ghost, right?
It just
It has to physically walk. It has to open a door or open a window. It can't walk through walls. It has to get into to a house or to a room or to anywhere the same way me and you would have to.
Mhm.
So what you're saying is right. I mean, if we saw the movie, if they showed us 5 minutes before that, would we see it naked? It with his naked ass walking up or going and getting a ladder and climbing up this ladder and then standing there, you know?
been doing what? Waiting? Like it's technically always waiting when it's walking. What's this thing's like max miles per hour? Like if I'm at the gym and I'm on a treadmill, like I'm trying to replicate this, like I'm not even comfortable walking that slow. I don't know if you are.
Did it run?
No, never, not once.
It never ran.
No, it never even like picked up a brisk walk, which people can consider like power walking or something like that.
Yeah.
But like it just moves at like, I don't know, like 1.5 miles an hour, no matter where it's going. This will be relevant when we get into our other thing.
Did this is why we're the B plus podcast, because we're B plus podcasters. We're not A plus. We're not A minus. Did we get did we even say what the reason for it following you, the STD thing?
Oh,
What?
let's do the rules for the people that haven't seen it yet, right?
Right. So
But if they
Jay,
haven't seen it, they technically wouldn't be watching. So not
right.
now,
Jay
unless they
goes out.
wanted it spoiled.
Jay goes out with this dude, uh, and has sex with him, and she wakes up. She's in a park, like a abandoned building.
Well, he chloroforms her like every good date goes,
Right.
and she ends up. He puts her in the wheelchair and gets her into a part of an abandoned building. Yeah.
Yeah. So he gets it and then explains the rules to her. Says that this is going to follow her. The only way to get rid of it is to pass it along via sex to the next person. Problem is that you have to tell that person, I guess, because if not, and
They
that
just get
person
killed.
dies, it comes back down to you.
Yeah.
So that's the problem here, where people just be like, oh, go sleep with whoever. Well, you got to let them know, uh, because if you don't tell them, they're just going to be walking in the kitchen one day and their mom's going to come out and stab them to death or whatever it did.
It kills you violently. It seems the first scene of the woman, I just like walking in a large circle outside of her house before she drives to a beachfront, some sort of shore, and calls her parent, leaves messages. Maybe both of them or just one of them. How she's always a pain or whatever, and she's sorry and that she loves them. And like the next scene, like her leg is like kind of oddly broken backwards, and she's just there dead. The character of you or Jeff from, I guess, some other town over or farther away basically passed it on to Jay, and then told Jay, well, he had her strapped into the wheelchair. You have to see this so that you know it's real. Because I guess even if you're explaining this to someone the best you could, that other someone is just going to be like, you're just making something up. This makes absolutely no sense. There's something wrong with you. Why are you doing this?
Right.
So then he waits for it to follow all the way up really close to them. And then he wheels her out of there and doesn't give her all her clothes back and kind of dumps her out of the car before it's done rolling away.
Worst first date ever.
I don't know. Like, yeah, right. For who? Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So she knows the rules. She doesn't know how to explain it to anybody. She maybe even in her own mind isn't thinking this isn't even real. All this is like make believe. What just happened to me was awful. And she does remember what was told to her. She does remember to whatever degree she's going to remember that night. And she'll know that it can get in the house and she should be afraid of it. And then eventually, and this is the great job that the movie did, when it was moving along, giving you a little bit more, they explain to you what we do know. And then our crew has to figure out, well, there's all the stuff we don't know. What can't we do to this thing? And yeah, you're right. It's not a ghost, and it definitely walks only at a certain pace. So presumably, if you get far enough away from it, it has to walk then again in whatever form it wants to be towards you. You have time. You have downtime, time to rest, I guess, or recharge, or think of your next move. But the Jeff or Hugh character, because one of the names was fake, knew enough to try to teach the person I'm going to have to pass it on to and have it be their problem, enough knowledge to be able to deal with this thing before it gets to them and comes back to me anyway. And then he doesn't know when it's going to come back to him. So like he's just going to like live like he normally would in his hometown until like, I guess that he knows there's something around them, which is bad because in one of the first scenes, they were playing some game while they were bored standing in lines, and he's like, "Oh, you're looking at the girl in the yellow dress," and then like she's like, "There is no girl in the yellow dress," and he's like, "Uh-oh," and he knows he has to get out of the theater.
I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it walks. It literally just walks. So as we've discussed before, so I get on a plane. I fly to the furthest point away from me. Obviously, that would be overseas since we're in the U.S.
Oh, no. Okay, yes, you're right. Correct. You want to move in a direction that it's in, I guess, in that direction straight enough, long enough till it has to keep like going in that direction to get to where you're at. So you're going to be able to stop and have the time left over for the travel from point A to point B. Point B is where you're at.
Right.
If you if you know that it's on a certain type of trajectory or like line, you could start moving further in the opposite direction and continue having to make its trip a little bit longer. That's up to you. But I figured out that what you want to do is like your first move is to get on a plane, and it's like if you dug through the earth to get to what people commonly think is China, but it's not China. If you were able to do a whole angled the right way, and you would dig straight down, and you'd have to pass like the center of the earth. If you're anywhere in these 48 states here, you're going to come out in the Indian Ocean. So you're going to want to have a boat. So we got to get some plane tickets, right? We're going to have a boat ready to go. And we're going to have, this is an expensive problem, basically. Like
Okay.
in the movie, they just drove back and forth and they were winging it. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. So you could Google Maps. You could Google Maps a walking distance from where we are. Let's just say.
Oh, wait, slow your roll right there. There could have been planes in Follows. There could have been boats in Follows, but I don't think there was Google Maps in Follows.
That's true.
Do you want to go over that too while we're doing it?
Yeah. Well, there's no time. There's no time period.
There is, but it's a little meshed. Right?
There's no time period. Okay. There's big blocky TVs that they're watching black and white movies on.
Yeah.
There's only black and white photos in the movie. There is
No, there was some color. There was some color in some of them, depending on what they were watching on television. Some were black and white, and some were like sort of colored. The TVs were CRTs, I think they're called, the tubes, tubes.
The dude that brought her she went on the date with had like a brand spanking new 1970s car.
Yeah, the cars definitely remind me of stuff that I can remember looking at that was like an aged car in the 80s, an early 80s car, 70s, probably 60s. Like you got to think about like, okay, these cars are older. What's the newest looking car that could have been in the movie? I don't know. But the tech doesn't support all the other stuff that's out there because there's older and antiquated stuff. Like the scene where they came up with the lame brain idea to put all the electrical devices around the pool. All these devices like old typewriter, old lamp, old like hair dryer, like it's okay. So tech's behind, we get that.
What about the houses? What about their homes? They're old.
Yeah, I mean, I seen
or it's your grandparents' house.
Yeah, it could. I mean, some of the tile is of the 60s or 70s era because that's the my house was built then, and I still have some of the old stuff in it, so some of it clicked. Stuff that jumped forward was what is it? The seashell? Is that what it is?
Oh, the greatest piece of modern technology that we don't have.
So they're behind on a whole bunch of stuff, and everyone's okay with that. Like I don't even see cables. Like people are listening to stuff. The TVs have like antennas and stuff like that. So they're okay with watching whatever they're gonna watch. And the refrigerator, it looked like it was straight out of the 1950s. And then like she's got an e-reader that's basically, it looks like what, a compact.
Hold on, before you go on. Speaking of the refrigerator being straight out of the 1950s, it does have a sweet ass ice machine. How does that work out?
Wait, it has an ice machine?
Yeah, go watch it again.
Did they have ice machines then, or is it I don't know.
There's no time period in this movie.
Maybe they had ice machines in the 50s. I don't know. I've never dealt with one of those weirdly small, oddly shaped with rounded edges like refrigerators ever. I just recognize the look at it.
So she has this clamshell makeup compact
But it's not for makeup.
e-reader slash phone slash turns on a flashlight like your modern day cell phones, smartphones. I I have no idea. Number one, I have no idea why how she got it. Why is it there? Once again, we have no time period. Number two, I have no reason why there's still not one. That would be like when Home Alone 2 came out and everybody wanted a Talk Boy. Every girl wants the clamshell e-reader slash cell phone.
I'll have to do a weirder reference or an older reference. I'm not even sure. Yeah, it's older. When you'd watch Back to the Future and you'd see Back to the Future 2, when you see like the Nikes that like tie themselves, they don't have laces, they just tighten. And like jackets, the jackets talk to you, drying now. Like the hoverboards instead of skateboards. Like people wanted this stuff. And
it's out.
Maybe now, yeah. But back
now.
then, no way.
Right. So yeah, so there's I don't you say there's a time period. I don't think there's a time period. I think it's just all over the place. I think it's to just keep us guessing. I think, like I said, this is a movie that when you're watching it, you might not be realizing it, but your brain is unconsciously saying, wait a minute, something's not right here. Something's wrong. Like there's something else
that's
going
the part
on.
I was talking about earlier, where this is a movie where you can sit down and observe a lot of things, and it's not always talking to you and making you listen to this part of dialogue that might relate to moving the plot forward. Sometimes you're just looking at stuff, and while we're doing that, we're picking out like, hey, that looks old. Hey, I remember those. That's not how it is now. And they're like, what's that doing there? And it's all there just to make us do this, basically.
Right. So now, for me, there's no time period.
It is its own time period, but it doesn't follow ours.
Well, it also doesn't follow our seasons either.
I don't know. Did enough time pass to have to have seasons?
No. There's the beginning. The girl runs out in high heels. I don't know why she's in high heels.
She likes to run in them.
Well, apparently she definitely wasn't told, hey, you're gonna die if you don't go have sex with someone and spread this.
Or she was, and she got tired of running, and she decided, I'm giving up on this shore front of whatever shore I'm on, and I'm calling my parents and telling them I love them. And
no, whatever. Because she wasn't ready. Because why is she running in high heels?
I don't know. It's like a lot of people aren't ready when this thing shows up. The beach scene where like no one can see it coming behind her because she at the time was the only one that can see it. It grabbed her hair. Like other people would have killed her even faster, but it decided to grab her hair so all of them can see her hair kind of being held up in the air. And then they all started to freak out, and like it was somebody hit it with a chair, and they got rifled like righteously like 10, 15 feet.
Yeah. So she runs out of the house. Lush green trees, everything's nice, looks like a great summer day. Then she runs to the back of the house, and it's like leaves are falling, and it's fall, and so within seconds, we have gone from summer to fall.
Hey, it's possible. A lot of things are possible in this timeline or this world.
Before Jay's date, she's chilling in a pool. Fine.
Hey, she chilled in the pool a lot, didn't she?
Yeah, but she chills in the pool. Next thing you know, that she's on this first date, and everybody's in a winter coat.
Okay.
So I mean, I guess that one could be like hot days, cold nights, but I mean, it's winter coats. It's not a windbreaker or a hoodie or It's,
you know what? I should have took notice of the clothes. I can't remember that at all.
Yeah. Well, that's a point that I said that there's no season, so there's no time period, there's no season. So, like I said, it's just these things that are you're watching it and you're just watching it as a straightforward movie, and then when it's over, you're like, wait a minute, like I have all these questions that were never answered, and it's to get your mind going, and that's why this is a really cerebral mind fuck of a film. It's a lot deeper than face value. And
speaking of deep, let's get back to being on the boat on the Indian Ocean. So,
yeah.
Is it going to walk through water to get to
right
us?
So can it get on a plane? Can it just mimic a stewardess and get on a plane and then go and fly over? Can it get on a boat and do that? Or is it literally going to walk in a straight line to you? Does it have to go around? Well, obviously it has to go around the objects because it's not a ghost. So we already clarified that. Is it going to go in a straight line? You know, is it going to go like going around things here and there? If it comes face
It
to
seems
face.
to walk in a straight line. Like
So
even
right, so it's going to sink to the bottom. So you're not even looking at how long does it take to walk from here to Tokyo,
like
or wherever you're going to go. You're
like
looking at the bottom of the ocean, and then somehow it has to climb
like
back
what
up.
if you get it to walk into the Challenger Deep that's in the Mariana Trench? It's like the deepest ocean
That's what I'm
in
saying.
in like on our world. So like that goes like 7 miles down, and there's all kinds of wild shit down. Does it have to contend what's down there, or no? It doesn't care. Like,
Well,
there's a
the
lot
other
of
things can't see it.
you can't see anything in the trench. It's like pitch black. Things live down there that have formed into complete darkness. Yeah,
Right.
they can't see it, but they can't see anything anyway.
So it could just like get on a plane if it wanted to,
Would
because
it
no
know
one
it?
could see it but the
He
person that
said
it's coming after, right?
he
Or
said
no?
it's slow and it's not stupid, but like it's still, since it's slow, it limits what it can do, you know?
Did other people see it? Like, did
Hmm?
everybody in the curse see it? Why can't I remember this?
Well, no. During that scene I was telling you where I'm like, why didn't it just kill her when it first like grabbed the hold of her on the beach, on like a lake or wherever
Right.
they were? Somebody was in a tube, somebody's in a chair, and they're all not facing where it's coming from. But the only person that could see it at that point was Jay. It grabbed her hair. They all saw her hair go up, like there was an invisible person behind her. So they knew there was something was going on. They knew there was some legitimacy to the story, but they couldn't see it. Only after, like, I think Jay's character and who was the first character? Oh,
Greg.
Greg. They can both see or think they're seeing or take guesses at, like, can you see that? And then if the two people that should be able to see it, and or enough people are like, yeah, that person's real, you're good to go. Later on, Paul and her could probably see it, but at no other point was any other character in on it, rather than like things happening outside around them, while like the people that are cursed have to react to whatever they're seeing, whether it's that weird tall strange person with the eyes, or the boy with his eyes too, like going through the broken wood at the bottom of the door.
So you have to have the curse and you could see it, right? Because
Yeah, he can see
because
it.
because Jay was yelling to Greg when it was sneaking into Greg's house trying to get in, and then when it's banging on the door, when he finally opens the door, he says "Mom," right?
Yeah, because it looks like his mom.
So she saw it going in, and he also saw it when he opened the door.
I think she saw going in the form of Greg, from what I can tell.
Oh
It was
yeah.
farther away. So
Yep.
Greg breaks his own window and kind of like drunkenly stumbles over onto the couch and rolls to the floor or whatever, like presumably, and then walks up the stairs and starts knocking on his own door. During that process, changes the form into his own mother. So when he opens the door, he's not alarmed. He sees his mother and he's just like, "Mom, what the fuck?" or whatever. Like he said,
Does
by the time Jay gets there, it's too late. So
does it have sex with Greg as Greg's mother to kill him?
um, I remember looking during this part, and there was like some weird water effect on the ground, or maybe it's urine. Another reference to like the urinating. I think I think if memory serves, it would have been dry humping technically.
I don't know. I think there was penetration. I think it was a messed up part of the movie
There
because
was
I
like
was watching. I'm like, this is nuts.
one of the lamps went out, and like then he went kind of gray. So there was like something to lead you to believe that like she sapped the life out of him, or if what life is to us is like electricity or like things set in motion, then yeah, like she stole it. But I don't think like what, all right, what you're proposing means that like one, he has to get hard in like 2 seconds, because Jay was already there. She walked in the room, right? Jay goes, looks in the room, sees this scene for like a half split second. So like he'd have to have like his pants off and his underwear off, and I was like, oh, I just saw my mother, I'm gonna get a boner, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then like, yeah, there's not enough time for all that stuff, so I'm pretty sure it was like clothes on top of clothes. He's more confused while he's on the ground being like killed. And then once Jay watches this whole horrific thing of the knocking and then going in the room, she starts to take off, because it basically like kills him and then looks over at her, which, hey, give me 1 second to like all right, you can shoot it in the head and it'll fall over, but it'll be all right and it'll just get back up, but it just slows it down. I get that. Okay, fine, great. It wants to go out and kill every person that has its curse, right? Like, to what avail? You're going to get to the end of the line and like it kills itself. Like, what's it like? It's the only part. It's the only part where I'm like, all right, I'm not going to suspend my belief for this awesome independent film that I'm watching in the theater. I'm like, so it gets to the end of the line for where it started, and it's like, gotcha, and then poof.
Yeah, like, oh, what do I
it
do
doesn't
now?
follow. It's over. Like, who started it and why? I don't know. I thought that was just something I could not ignore, and that's that. I'm done now. I'm done with that.
Well, while going with the part with the mother and Greg's mother and him, like about the other messed up parts of the movie, that was another thing was the I guess subtlety. Like I said, it keeps making you guess. I mean, even with these messed up parts, did somehow Greg have sex with the ghost as his mother?
I
Did
doubt it.
did Jay decide to bang three jocks on a boat?
Yeah, I think so. She never really talked about that part. I don't think she was very proud of it, but he bought her some time. I don't think she told any of them the rules. It's
Yo,
kind of a dick move.
her friend had to be so upset.
Who's
He,
that?
he literally
Paul?
comes out. Yeah, he literally comes out and been like, "Why'd you have sex with Greg? Should have been me."
Oh, like most of the movie for Paul is like watching like Greg like hold her hand or put his hand on her shoulder and like looking over and being like like because he's jealous. He tried to tell her like early on that they were their first kiss and whatnot, but I guess she thought Greg was going to be okay, and he wasn't. And then he comes over to her like the day that she had to go do that and got her cast wet. And he's like, well, why'd you have sex with Greg? And she's like, she said something to the degree of, I thought he'd be okay. And then, but she doesn't mention like the three dudes on the boat. like,
Well, I think it
she
was
doesn't want to.
because he wasn't a badass. I think she was banging Greg because she's like, all right, this guy will be able to defend himself. I won't feel as bad because he won't die, and we'll just figure it out or whatever. Which Greg got owned.
Yeah, Greg versus the visual form of his mother was unsuspecting, and he got killed pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, he hung out for a while. Things seemed like they were trying. These people are feeling their way through this. They don't even know what the hell is going on. I mean, she's confused, and then at the same time, she just like wants to be able to feel some like sense of, I don't know what, comfort or non-comfort. I remember looking at her in the scene where she was having sex with Greg in the hospital, and like she's like her face is just like looking at the door or like not there. Like I'm like this is, she's just having a terrible time. Not that it's supposed to be a thrill ride, right? Like this is great.
Right.
This is so much fun.
Yeah, I mean it what am I trying to say? It sucked. It sucked for him, but there were so many. How do you go about getting rid of it? I mean, I would take the end scene where
you got to just keep being careful.
You have sex with a hooker and hope that it goes down the line, but that doesn't even make sense either because the guy, she's just gonna pass it on to a guy, and then the guy's paying. Well, I mean, unless he pays a lot of hookers, because that could be a good cycle. Like this dude, like this guy only pays for hookers like all the time, so then you have sex with a hooker and you pass it on to her, and then she goes to this guy, and then the guy's only paying for hookers, and he's probably getting different ones all the time. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but then in that theory, which is working, but you just have to think a little more out of the box. Okay, so they'd have to pass it on and on and on and on and on. But like once like a guy goes to that hooker, like the hooker gets killed, or the guy gets killed, then the hooker gets killed, and then it's coming back to you anyway. What you want to do is you got to find. Well, first of all, you got to travel. You got to get on a plane, get on a boat, and you got to find a place in like I don't know, in like China, where you can like find a hooker that's going to pass it on to a bunch of other people, and it has to start recalibrating where it has to go far enough away. Then you can get off the boat, get on a plane, go back home, and you got like a lot more downtime before.
So you're saying like with Jay with the three dudes, if she had sex with the three dudes, and they all go their separate ways, then it's like I don't know where to go.
Like you should have got the three dudes, like flown to the middle of the Indian Ocean.
Wait. No,
Do it there, and then they
no, this isn't right because
you can't keep.
it's gonna go in
You can't
order.
stay local. Stop staying local.
Listen, it's gonna go in the order of penetration. Okay,
Okay.
so if some hooker out in China, wherever you said, has a gangbang, then
I don't know.
it's probably gonna go in order of penetration because
I don't even know if that's part of the rules. They never
it's gonna
talk
go
about
down the line. It's gonna go down the line. There's no way it is gonna be confused. It's gonna go just straight down the line.
The hilarious part is it wants to go down the line and get to the end of its existence.
Right. What is it out for?
It exists to want to be able to destroy itself. It's kind of like everybody, right?
Yeah. What is the purpose of it? Well, I mean, maybe we do need a sequel.
Has it been talked about? Or
I don't know, but would that ruin it? Then we wouldn't be having this much fun.
Yeah, but you can have a sequel and still not answer anything. Following the film's success, Radius TWC co-president Tom Quinn announced studios looking into a possible sequel. Quinn has expressed the idea of flipping the concept from the first film around, with Jay or another protagonist going down the chain to find the origin of "quote unquote" it.
Oh no!
So there you go.
Yeah, but then it might get into like this weird, I don't know. Listen, let's put it this way: The Ring comes out. Holy shit! The Ring's amazing.
I'm ready for that. Yeah.
Ring 2 comes out. I'm like, I'm going to theaters. I remember Ring 1. I was drinking. I was like 16, 17 years old, drinking at one of TJ's buddies' houses, and I watched it, and I was like, the beginning scene in the closet, I was like, what am I watching? Like, this is something on another level. And so anyway, Ring 2 comes out, ready to go. I'm like, all right, this is going to be great. I go, and then deers are attacking cars and stuff, and I go, this movie stinks. I don't like Ring 2 at all.
I like all the Ring films. Obviously, 2 is not as good as 1. That's my opinion. You could have just said you went to your buddy's house to drink, and you didn't have to say TJ, so now everyone knows about him. He's gonna hate you for that.
It's all right. I guess so. It's all right.
Well, good. Very excited for the Ring 3. It's kind of weird. I was used to watching it like because of videotapes and VHSs, right? That's not really a thing anymore. So does the Ring jump to social media, like any type of like a video file?
Yeah. But the problem with the Ring 2 is that it goes further down the rabbit hole. And in my opinion, we didn't have to go down the rabbit hole anymore.
And that's you're worried about, obviously, with the possibility of having the part 2 of this movie that follows too.
Could have just left it as it is, because this is what makes it awesome. All these cool interpretations. I mean, a lot of people might like it more straightforward, but I don't. I like that I leave it, and I might not even been thinking about this, but my brain is unconsciously picking up all this craziness that's going on, and then I immediately have to look something up, and then while I'm reading, I'm like, oh, well, then there's that, and then there's that, and then there's that, and then we come to this where we're talking about it going to 7 miles deep underwater, and can it
only if we accidentally dragged it from the direction that we were going into the Challenger deep part of the Marianas Trench. So,
right? Is it going in a straight line? So do we have?
They're not going to have to worry about that. Two would be. I know what I want a part 2. I want to see more of, I guess, this, because for 2014, this was a great movie for me. I had a blast watching it.
That's another thing. So let's put it this way. So obviously this, what did you call it? The 7 mile deep part of the ocean?
Yeah. Just call it like the deepest part of the ocean on our world.
Because, okay, so it has to be big, right? Like, this isn't just like the size of a street or something, it's big. So if we just somehow got, we could self-sustain on like a boat, could we just stay in the middle? It could never get to us unless it got up and somehow got a boat and then came over to us.
So let's say it's at the bottom of Challenger Deep, right? Then
it'd have to swim to us.
Gonna have to swim upwards to get to us if it knows that we're like above it. So it can swim, although it didn't really swim too well in the film, from what I was able to figure out. Right.
did, speaking of that, so they come up with this brilliant plan to electrocute it, which
Wait,
I mean,
that's brilliant. Isn't like there's sarcasm there, right? Because
there's sarcasm there
all right,
because,
'cause
well,
that was the
I mean,
worst plan ever.
do they
That's like
think
that's like a grade school plan being drawn out by like people that are like like 20 and like 25. Like, it's like their logic and reason went out the window, and they're just like, I'm going to come up with like this really ridiculous solution to a problem that should have never existed here, but we're going to try this.
well, the monster, it comes out as her father. So in the movie, we see the mother is always day drinking, self medicating. You see,
Well, how do
the,
you know she doesn't work a night shift? And that's her time.
well, we see a picture with Jay and her father, and it's exactly how he looks when he comes into the pool.
So
And
that's why
then
she said, I don't want to tell you. Like, what's it look
because
like?
her sister was there.
I don't want to say. I don't want. Okay, that makes sense.
Right. So it took this. So what I'm trying to say is, did you know, Jay? There's people saying that the father killed himself, and that was another like underlying thing that you're seeing with the mother self-medicating and uh, the kids being kind of like strong on their own and being on their own, uh, doing their own thing, while
Yeah,
the mothers like can't get over it. So, and then like I
float in the
said,
pool endlessly. Hey, the pool broke. Is there any explanation why it broke?
no, no.
PVC
But
pipe pool.
but here's something else is that the the guy who made the movie, what was his name? You had it.
I had it up. It was directed by David Robert Mitchell.
That's it. So
His name is all like possible first names.
this is
Whatever.
was out of a nightmare. So I could have some pretty vivid nightmares, and a lot of people like you know, they've like a Stephen King could have had a nightmare and made, a book about it, could have made it or something like that. So was there just was it just vivid? Because I mean, if you wake up, and a lot of writers do this, they wake up, they have something, they have the notebook by their bedside, so they just jot down, uh, could this have been a nightmare? He said he made it from a nightmare. So could this have been just the craziness that he remembers, like the changing of the seasons, the if his family had an old 1970s car, but he had a cell phone in there, um, all this.
I think he probably had a nightmare and used it as the blueprint for this. And then they got themselves a good idea together, sat down and wrote the crap out of it. Before you know it, you had cool little film there. Sit
Right,
down.
but I mean, how like you're sitting there and you're like, oh my god, I had a nightmare last night, and someone from fifth grade was there, but they were older now, and they were hanging out. Like that's like it's kind of like he keeps that nightmare ish part to it, like you're watching a nightmare, because of the different, like we said, seasons, the different no time, um, and
Yeah, that makes
he did
sense. I
say it
mean,
was something that was slowly following him. So I mean, who knows? Maybe he's running through his nightmare and he's like, oh, he's on a beach in summer. And he's running. All of a sudden, he's like in the Arctic or
nightmares are
something.
scattered at best. I don't know how you remember yours, but like mine are usually like I can figure out what's going on and like usually get myself out of them if I want it to.
I can't do that. I'm always scared.
Uh, like certain theories surrounding like psychology and dreams, like, your subconscious and your conscious, like you got all this stuff going through your head actively and not actively all the time, so they're going to mesh together in your dream. And yeah, can all this stuff happen in his dream? Absolutely. Can it all happen to the extent of the entire length of this film? Absolutely not. That's one long ass nightmare. So yeah, they probably had an idea for it and then they threw it together, and people brainstormed, got an awesome movie.
Well,
Awesome movie.
the conclusion is something or somebody is walking behind them, and we see,
Like the end scene.
yeah, the end scene. We see Paul go to pulls up to a bunch of hookers, like we were saying before.
No,
And,
Paul and Jay were just walking on the street is when it ended. And they looked like there's someone behind them. They weren't working fast. The woman, whatever it is behind them, wasn't walking really fast, but it was walking towards them. They were also additionally walking away from the person behind them so that their backs are to them. So they both can confirm that it's there. And they're just walking and it's walking and no one's really gaining on each other or anything like that. And it just kind of just ends.
well, there's two things there. One, is it even it? Did they somehow get rid of it because he did pull up to those hookers? So did he get rid of it? Or another thing is that
the hookers, it looks like they were standing in a junkyard. Like, honestly.
well, do they, or is it just the accepting of the fact that we're just gonna we're just in this together and we're gonna outrun this for the rest of our lives? Because now he had it, so
yeah.
it's
So
either he accepted and he's like, listen, I'll just deal with this, and me and her are gonna run around until Jay decides that she doesn't like him anymore, like she didn't like him the whole film, and leaves him, and then he's burdened by himself. But you see them at the end, in all seriousness, you see them at the end, and they hold hands. So it's a little touching moment, saying like, we're in this together. Or it could have been like, we got rid of this for now. So
who's in a real good spot? The person who had it like first, because they were able to convince like Hugh or Jeff to be able to get it, to be able to do this to Jay, to have Paul agree, and like they're running around doing all the hard work while the person that like either had it before this Jeff kid or before that, like they're set.
yeah.
I mean, if they have a brain, they're always going to be looking behind their shoulder or in front of them or scanning everywhere that they're at all the time. But
forever.
all these people involved are.
I mean, I what would you do? Would you deal with it? I mean, even if you're fifth down the line, I mean, you're in your 30s. I mean, they're like 18. Like, are you gonna go and live, all these years, just scared?
These people presumably are anywhere from like 18, 19, 20 and on, maybe like I don't know, 25. And like, besides coming up with the lamest idea to be able to take this thing on, and like some Stephen King kind of esque, like, let's band together and do it. And I'm like, yeah, but you're banding together and you're all like older now. So could have came up with a better idea. Yeah, you deal with it. The answer is you deal with it. You figure out what you got to do to survive, and you keep surviving. Every single second that you have while you're surviving is one more than you had if you didn't do it, right?
I don't know. Like, that creeps me out. It creeps me out.
Don't get creeped out.
No, it creeps me out like that. Just thinking about that, it's just, that's what's awesome. That's why this is so good. This is why I love horror movies. Is because it's just, I'm 10th down and I could just, or I'm 5th in line, but when I think about it, I can still feel that, like, that dread. Like, well, I can't even go and live my own life. I mean, I get scared now. I go and hear a bump that's not supposed to be bumping, or something that crashes because the cat knocks something over, and I'm like, what was that? And then my mind starts going, my mind starts racing, and it's a whole ordeal. I don't even think I should be watching horror movies. Unfortunately, that's all I watch.
Yeah, right. It's that kind of irony that keeps you go up in the night. Nightmare, no nightmare, sounds, whatever.
I want to. Yeah, I mean, I want to write a book about all the stuff that comes, like, in my head, just from, I don't know, just my own mind playing tricks on me. But that, so that was, the end. Is it gone for now? Are they banding together? I think that was it following them, and they were banding together in the end, saying, we'll just deal with this. We'll outrun it, because they didn't have a care in the world, even if it was behind them, but they also might not have seen it behind them, right?
Yeah, so that was like the little like twist at the end to be like, okay, well, they're walking and something else is walking. If it is it, will it catch up to them and kill them both? We'll have to kill what's his face before her. I think it should be a part 2. Put Jay in it. Have her be in the beginning before something happens to her or not, and why not have them go find the origin of what's going on? That'd be fun. I'd like to know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down for it. I loved it. I mean, even if they just because Back to the Ring, like I didn't like the Ring 2 doesn't take anything away from how awesome the Ring 1 was. So for me at least. So that doesn't taint any, the awesomeness of this movie if It Follows 2 came out and they went too far down the rabbit hole. I'm like, well, all my our discussion that we had in on January 25th of 2017 is stupid now because they ruined everything.
No, they'll either put out a movie and they'll ring to it, or they'll put out a movie and it'll rock. So you have that 50-50 chance of getting what you want. So yeah, ask for it. Hope they do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know if you want to add anything else.
No, that's about it.
That was deep.
It's good stuff.
We went down the rabbit hole. I didn't think I was coming out.
So you made it. It's all right. It's still you.
It's still me.
It's still you. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a wrap then. If you don't have anything else to add.
No, I said everything I had to.
All right, sweet.
Let's go.
If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure to give us a like or subscribe if you're enjoying this. This is brought to you by SeftimorLive.com, Seftimor Live on YouTube, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Yeah.